Again, lighting is not an idol. It's simply a tool that can help set the environment, just like utilizing audio, video, PTZ cameras, which are pretty dope, to help capture these moments and help create these moments for people to encounter God. Lighting, when used intentionally, can truly change the environment and hopefully make the first introductions to someone's meeting of Jesus for the first time. Again, lighting is simply a tool. The way that I look at it is it's a modern day way of helping shape and create the tabernacle, the tent of meeting. It's all tools to be utilized. We're continuing, my friends, in an ancient tradition of helping build this space using technology. That's my firm belief. On top of being a big lighting nerd and getting to do a lot of fun projects and come alongside ministries, my most important ministry is being a husband and a father. I have a beautiful wife and beautiful children. I have a third one on the way. I'm gonna name my third son Light Bulb, probably, because I love lights so much. I'm kidding. So my beautiful family, they all love lights. They love ministry. They love loving on people, and it's such a joy to be able to be their father and the husband. To keep up with all that stuff and my projects, you probably can catch this in my voice. I'm highly caffeinated 24/7. It's again, that's like my big crutch. I love some good coffee. Okay. So pour overs, Starbucks is kind of mid, but good pour over really makes me happy. So, all right, let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the big nuggets that you're going to walk away with today. Okay. So for any 30-minute sermon or presentation like I'm giving you today, there is 3 minutes of comprehension. For 30 minutes, you remember 3 things I say today. Okay, so I prepared for probably a couple days worth off and on, but you're gonna remember 3 points, three things for this conversation today. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to you. It is the equation for great lighting. So today, take a snapshot of that, take a screenshot of that, what have you. We're going to be learning today, what is the equation from my experience as an LD? What is the equation for great lighting in worship? Here we go. Here it is. The great equation. The equation for great lighting is the right tools plus right positioning plus correct quantities multiplied, this is the important one, multiplied by intentional programming equals great lighting for worship. This is something that I have observed in my career and in my observations and just my experiences and just things that God has taught me. These elements will help you achieve great lighting for worship. It's not always about having the biggest, best tool in the tool shed. It's about leveraging what you have to help shape the environment. It's all about using what you got to its fullest potential, my friends. Let's go ahead and jump on in. The right tools for the job. The first elements that you want to utilize is the right tools. Okay. So again, you'll probably see this, you'll see this in a second here, but we are big fans at my company, and I am a firm believer of using the right tools to achieve what I'm going for. One of the tools that we utilize and what I utilize very regularly are Fresnel style fixtures. These fixtures are great for lighting up people's faces, kind of on my camera shot here. They can also be utilized in different ways for blinders, for backlight, a lot of different applications for them. But Fresnel's, what makes them very useful is the fact that it makes a nice even wash of light, a very nice soft wash of light. And the lensing of this allows it, the specialized lens, how it's cut, allows for the light to be dispersed evenly. Oftentimes, Fresnel fixtures do have the ability where you can widen the wash or make it more narrow. It makes it more variable, more easier to work with. This is a great tool to utilize in many scenarios where I'm trying to light up a stage, okay? Now, one of the other aspects of Fresnel style fixtures that's categorized with them is what's called barn doors. I'm sure you've seen these on TV, in movies, maybe on cartoons, or maybe in at your churches as well. Barn doors are these flaps that allow for your lights to be tapered and more directed and kind of honed in on the area you want to go, okay? Kind of helps give a little more control to that scatter shot of wash that comes from Fresnel fixtures, okay? Now, moving on from there, another fixture that's very commonly used, and I use these all the time as well, is the ellipsoidal. These are commonly used in theaters, but they're also utilized in larger spaces oftentimes as well. I've used these for many years. Now, I will say that these are a little more, takes a little more skill and ability to be used, okay? Not saying you can't use these at your church, but these do take a little more work and more intentionality in my experience. Ellipsoidal style fixtures are categorized by these lens tubes that can be inserted, and they have the ability where you can make them wider, more narrow, and they also have these framing shutters here that you could help shape the light, if you will. And you could also fuzz out the wash. So that way you can cover the area nice and evenly. So these are nice for long spaces you're trying to shoot light onto, or utilizing them for larger, more specific spots you're trying to light up too. Next, we have, let me say this here. So when you're utilizing fixtures for lighting up the stage, or lighting up the pulpit, it's highly advised you try to utilize fixtures with a high CRI rating. What that means is a color rendering index. The higher the rating, the more natural and realistic the light is. So 100 being the sun as the reference point for natural light. And then you'll notice here in the graph that you'll notice that the light on the fruits in this drawing here look a little more kind of muted, a little more kind of looking. So the more natural the light, the more realistic it'll look on the subject. Okay, so try to utilize higher CRI rated fixtures. I'm proud to say the fixtures we manufacture are pushing 90 plus, which is very helpful. Okay. Now, battens. Battens are long bar style fixtures that can be used to light up walls, can be used for blinders, if you will, as well. These are really fun. It's great for lighting up scenic design pieces. You can use those as well for lighting up walls, scenic design pieces, blinders. They're very, very great fixtures used for creative elements and things like that. Okay, now finally, my personal favorite, I'm a big fan of movers. I love programming. It's super fun. Now, the most common fixtures that will be utilized, that is utilized in churches many times, are the moving wash fixtures and then the spot style moving head fixtures. Okay, so moving wash fixtures, they are categorized by the ability where they can become more narrow and more wide. Oftentimes they have the ability to color mix. There are variable white versions out there. Okay, you can use these for potentially moving wash fixtures, can be used for front light if you wanted, but oftentimes they're great to be used for eye candy and backlight and what have you. Similar as well with the spot fixtures. These have, they're categorized with these stencils called gobos on wheels that can be rotated electronically by the fixture from your software to change out and make the light different shapes, essentially, different breakout patterns. They oftentimes have color wheels as well. Okay, so these are the most common tools to be used for lighting for worship. These are what I would call the right kind of tools. Now, let me say this. A great tool can be used for the wrong application. Okay, so we see this all the time. I see this all the time when I'm consulting with churches, that churches are utilizing a hammer to try to hammer in a screw, or vice versa, trying to screw in a nail. Okay, it's a good tool. It's a great tool, in fact, but it's being used in the wrong application. Okay, so not to poke fun at anybody here, so sorry if I'm putting anyone on blast, but how many people's live stream pastor looks a little bit like this? Looks like the fourth member of the Blue Man Group. Okay, just poke a little fun here, having some fun, but this is very common. We see a lot of live streams at our company that have people looking very blue, like either a Blue Man Group character, a character off a cartoon, what have you. All right, so some examples. This is probably one of the most extreme examples I personally have seen in recent memory. This is a live stream at a church. Pastor is looks like my little girl. She loves trolls, and she saw this one time. She's like, "Oh my gosh, Daddy, it's Poppy." I'm like, "No, honey, it's not Poppy. It's someone I'm trying to help." So this is a pretty common thing. So this church here in particular, and I'll show you some other examples here shortly. This church here is trying to utilize color wash RGBW fixtures as their front wash. It's a great fixture. It was a great fixture, in fact, actually, but it was being used in the wrong application. But I understand on paper, oh, red, green, blue, white. This will be perfect for my stage, right? Not always. This is a church that we recommended relocating these fixtures as scenic design pieces, like light up their walls, do some backlight, and then, hey, consider getting some Fresnel style fixtures with a proper white light. Pretty dramatic, okay? This is the same church the following weekend after that last photo. I kid you not. This church, believe it or not, actually were only able to afford to get two Fresnel style fixtures to light up pastor, like to light up their center stage area. And you can see the right tool here, massive payout right away, a massive improvement from one little adjustment. Very helpful. Here's another one. Again, Papa Smurf happening here, okay? And then here's the same church again. Here we go. Praise God with the right kind of fixture, okay? One more. Pastor here, kind of pink. Yep. His shirt matches his skin tone. That's cool. But here we go. Same church again. Okay, this church got the right tool, right? Utilizing the right tool for the application they're trying to use, okay? Now, again, let me say this too. There's always room for improvement. I oftentimes say to the people I speak with, the churches I speak with, that lighting in production ministry in general, it's a journey, okay? But to encourage you, and something we say very often here at our company is this: a step in the right direction is a step in the right direction. So don't be discouraged if, oh my goodness, hey, Frank, we don't have the budget to do, a whole revamp of the entire sanctuary. Hey, it's okay. Neither was I. When I was the line director for a multi-site church, we had to make the budget fit for 10 locations. So it was a step-by-step, phase-by-phase improvement season for me to help get lighting to where it needed to be. And a lot of coaching, a lot of training, okay? But a step in the right direction is a step in the right direction, my friend. So don't be discouraged. Okay, so a quick sponsor break here. What can I do now? So you might be asking yourself, or you're like, man, what can I do now? Like, man, like pastor looks like a Smurf. Like, what? I want to fix this right away. What do I do? One of the fastest ways you can do that, my friends, is go ahead and reach out to us. So us at Pro Church Lights, I think you'll probably get this from this conversation I'm having today, but myself and the team, we are passionate about serving the local church so you can reach your communities for Christ better. We believe these are tools. These are not idols to us. These are just tools to help you achieve these goals and communicate the gospel more clearly. So email us at solutions@ProChurchLights. And one of the tools that we utilize is called our visual mockup service. So maybe some of you might be watching right now and may have gone through this process. Hey, awesome. That's great. The visual mockup service, in a nutshell, what it is we send to you a questionnaire. You submit to us some photos, information, try to give us as much details as you can, some hopes, goals, some frustrations, and we make recommendations, create some visual mock-ups to help you visualize and to be able to pray over and think through, hey, what do we want to do at our sanctuary, okay? So we try very hard to help equip churches with knowledge so that way they can make the best call for their ministry. And this is like one of our key tools to do it. Normally it is $249 for the service, but today, if you scan this QR code, it is $99 for this service, okay? And it's really great. We have a great team of line designers, and I myself personally get to speak into these as well, where we help figure out the best steps for you to help achieve great light in your space. All right. Okay, sponsor break done. Let's go ahead and I'll let you scan it for a quick second longer, and we'll move on from there. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about correct positioning here. Correct positions. Now, correct positions, there are three positions you want to consider, okay? Front light, backlighting, atmospheric lighting. Front lighting, what that is, my friends, it is the light that shines onto the platform to light up the stage, okay? Again, on my camera shot here, this is what's shining onto me right here, okay? And you'll see in the 3D models here that the light is dimming up, lighting up the virtual 3D dummies on my stage here, okay? Lighting them up. So that's the front light, okay? The front light position is visualized something like this, okay? Lighting up the stage like so. It is the fixtures are located typically at a 45-degree angle down onto the subject like so, okay? A quick way you can find that as a quick tip for you is you measure the floor, the ceiling height. If it's 20 feet, you go out from the subject's position 20 feet and then straight up, that's where the 45 is at approximately, okay? So a quick tip for you, 45 is what we recommend for front light. Now, This does a great job where it helps to prevent washing out your back screen. It also lights up people's faces well, where there aren't a whole lot of deep, dark shadows in our eye sockets, okay? You'll see that with the steeper angle, you'll see that the shadows are a little more prominent here on the subject's face. And then the more shallow straight on angle, it's a lot more kind of like deer in headlights, like a road to Damascus moment, kind of lighting on the subject. It also blasts out the back wall. If you have a projection screen back there, it might be hard for you to see your lyrics or your sermon notes. Next element is backlight. Kick wash, hair light. It is categorized by this downward light down on top of the subject, like so, lighting up the hair and shoulders, like this. Helps people be a little more visually prominent in the camera and also in real life. It's also a great creative element too. Backlight is also another key element. Front light is top priority, okay? Phase 2 is, or the ability to add in backlight. That's highly recommended to help people be more 3D, okay? Backlight can be spot movers, can be moving wash fixtures. Oftentimes, it could be just a simple red, green, blue mixing light you already might be utilizing at church as your front light. Hey, relocate that as backlight, and you'll be much happier, okay? Backlight, again, hide the hair and shoulders, help people be visually more brought out in front of the camera, okay? A steeper downward angle is what we say. The 10-degree angle, the backlight, that's the position we try to shoot for. A steeper down angle to make sure that the subject gets a lot of nice backlight and also minimizes how much light gets into the front row, folks. Okay, the final elements I'm a big fan of is the atmospherics, kind of the eye candy part of lighting, okay? So here you'll see in the 3D model, I have these spot fixtures, do this cool gobo breakout pattern behind the subjects here. There's haze going. There is wall wash, another element we call it for lighting up the back wall area there behind the screen. All great tools. When you add these all together, it can really make a really, really beautiful picture for worship here. So you'll see that the front light is the first thing you want to get implemented if you don't have it in yet, okay? So get the right kind of front light implemented is our recommendation. Next, if you can, backlight, but that can be another phase, okay? That could be a 2025 deal. That's something you got to do. And then in just a third phase, the final phase, the kind of the dialing in phase is getting the atmospherics, the eye candy, if you will, okay? All those elements work together to help create this one beautiful picture like so. All right, correct quantities, all right? So correct quantities, this is kind of a short section here, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You want to try to utilize the proper amount of fixtures to light up your platform. We see this all the time where they have the improper amount of fixtures trying to do the work for a very large stage, or yeah, you don't have enough tools to do the job here. So you'll see that there's these pockets of dark spots here. They're doing their very best at this church to light up the platform, but you see there's some deep, dark pockets of dark. So a pastor feels, yes, kind of getting into the zone, like bringing the word, might walk in and out of dark zone. So it's really important to try to get the proper amount of fixtures to light up the stage, okay? We say many times that the most important thing is to try to make sure, again, pastor, not to pump up your ego at all. I'm sure you're all very humble. You want to make sure that we light up the pulpit. That's the primary area I would humbly submit to you to make sure it's well lit, okay? Out from there, then you can expand out. And you'll notice in the diagram that the ovals here, which represents the washes, we are now covering them. So that way, pastor can walk across the stage without walking into a dark zone, okay? Take this application here, make sure you have enough fixtures where you're doing the job adequately, okay? All right, kick light, kind of kick light, backlight, similar idea. We recommend you consider making sure that the pulpit gets a lot of nice backlight, okay? The sermon being clear and distraction-free, that is what I would consider to be the goal here for this technology. Start with 2 if you can, and then expand out, fan out from there to cover up the other areas, okay? Again, try to have a nice little overlap there to allow for nice even wash. Okay, now, intentional programming. Now, this is where the rubber really meets the road, my friends. You have all these tools in play, or utilizing the tools you have. What's beautiful about intentional programming is this can expand and multiply, and you get more and more better results, okay? So some practical things for you to consider is making sure that you are trying to look through the lens of setting up your volunteer teams up for success, okay? One of them being, again, I said it before at the very beginning, but making sure you have the right tools to do the job. So hey, sorry, you can't get mad if the lights are not bright enough for your camera. You can't blame it on the volunteer not able to dim the lights up higher. It's possible you're not using the right tool. Or hey, it's super shadowy. Hey, we got to reposition these fixtures. Okay. Also, along with that, on top of like the physical tool kind of aspect here, guys, I talk about this to churches all the time, is make sure that the show file for your lighting software is set up in a way that will set your volunteers up to win. Now, Lightkey, this is like one of the very common softwares we recommend to churches. It's a really great starting place, okay? We also help many churches. I help many churches with different software such as Vista, MA, Onyx, what have you. But literally this past weekend, I was at a church doing a lighting, and they only had one volunteer that knew what all the key settings were. So he knew what all the percentages were needed for front light, for cameras. They had everything set up for the colors for cameras as well, et cetera, et cetera. This one person kind of taking the Stanley idea of getting hit by a bus. If this volunteer was sick one weekend, they had no one else to run lights, you potentially could be set up for a little bit of a disaster. So do everything you can is my recommendation to make sure you build out presets that can be referenced for your volunteers. Have specific lighting cues, lighting presets for the sermon that's dialed in for cameras. Have a multi-viewer next to your lighting control software, so that way your lighting volunteer can see what your cameras are seeing, so that way they can help dial in the lighting accordingly for your cameras. Also, Mr. Lighting people, or me might be a video lighting audio guy in this presentation. Do everything you can to make sure that you're balancing out everything in a way that's harmonious, okay? If you have the ability to have an LD on staff at church, Mr. LD, watching this right now, partner with your video director, partner with your camera team. Try to collaborate to make sure that you're getting the images that you want to achieve on the live stream. Okay, now with all these things together, guys, this is when we get into great lighting. From my experience, this is when we get into great lighting. We see many churches that partner with us that they start with just normal recessed can lights, track lighting, and they walk away with such much better improvements on their live stream, getting the right tools, the intentionality of the programming, the position, the quantities needed, etc. It's really, really cool to see these ministries be able to reach their communities, but also to reach their online communities for Christ as well. Something that I don't take lightly as an LD for churches. Intentional programming, intentionality can help you achieve some really, really beautiful stuff and build up to something that could be really remarkable. A tabernacle space, something like that. But I'm going to kind of close with this, kind of bring it all back to the focal point, why we do what we do. It's to help facilitate a place where people can encounter God in an authentic way. This is actually at the multi-site church I worked at. In this photo here, I took a photo of this. This is the middle of a terrible snow and ice storm here. We lost power for blocks. So imagine being in the tech booth and you're literally watching your the battery backup and also your career tick down to 0, and we lost all power. So before that happened, though, I got on headset and in the in-ears of the worship pastor here, and literally, to the credit of Pastor DJ here, he didn't drop a beat at all. I messaged him via a headset and said, "Hey, we're gonna lose power in about 1 minute, man." You literally pretty much gave me a wink from the stage. And as soon as power cut off, without losing a beat, he belted out to the auditorium and saying, "All right, guys, pull out your iPhones, Androids. We're not done worshiping." And literally the congregation pulled out their phones and they lit up the stage because they weren't done worshiping. So I want to encourage you with this thought. Technology is wonderful and it's a tool, but with or without technology, God's going to be glorified. Do everything you can to help facilitate a space for worship, my friends. Don't give up. myself, I'm cheering you on. Our company's cheering you on here at Protrus Lights. Keep fighting the good fight, and thank you for what you do. And again, let's kind of wrap up here. If you guys at all want to follow up, again, here's that graphic again. Email us at solution@ProTrustLights. Check out the visual mockup service. We think it could be a really great tool to help serve you. Follow us on social media, of course, here. Check us out on Instagram. Yeah, we're really excited about just connecting with folks like any way we can. With all that being said, love your lights.